Okay, so there's a line. There's the flower ka jo stem hai. There's two leaves kind of thing, one on the left and one on the right. And at the end of the line, there's an infinity symbol. And at the very end, there are two stars that are kind of joined. So the two stars fall below the infinity symbol. So at the end of the line, there is the infinity symbol, and then there are two stars, and there are two leaves, like the two petal thing. And on the right hand petal, there's a circle and the smiley face ka jo the happy, and on the left petal is just a circle. And on the top of the line, you have to draw an arrow, which is it's a curved arrow pointing to the right. It's a vertical line, and the line at the top of the line there's a curved arrow. There's a curved arrow pointing to the right, and on the vertical line there are two leaves, kind of design. On the left hand leaf, there's a circle inside it. On the right hand leaf, there's a circle and a smiley face ka jo smile. And at the end of the line, there's an infinity symbol, and that's followed by two stars. There's one star at the very end of the line and one star that's on the right of the line. That's those two stars are like joined.
Good. Time starts now. This is what I got. Many are quite close. I don't know whom to appreciate. Whether the descriptive part was good or understanding was good. This is also very good.
So I think it is more about how the person is able to understand the task given to them first, and then they must be able to describe it, and then the people must be able to listen and put it to action. So I think at every stage there is some details lost, and that's the reason why we are not able to.
I think the crucial part is how we describe the entire diagram, and Amika did a really good job at it. But the way we conceived it and the way we interpreted it with the leaves, even the leaves, the way we drew it were different from how she tried to describe it, and all of us had our own versions of how we drew the diagram. So for the same thing that is being described, all of us do interpret it differently, and we show it out differently.
The differences in communication can arise because of minor details. So even if it's the whole picture is the same, just because of a few details, we can interpret messages wrongly, and that's what often leads to miscommunication.
Yeah, the leaf is one of the key differences. The reason is when Anamika described it, she said correctly right and left, but we made an assumption, right? This is one of the key issues that we face.
Shiva sir said the right of what Anamika said and the right that we assume is which side. Because in that fraction of that second, we already formed something. Yeah. And I found that the first time she said, she was describing, I could follow till a certain point. Afterwards, it just became, everything was like jumbled up. And the second time she described it, I was able to at least communication.
So the part about losing out on the image after a first few sentences, because the mind is not able to retain. First is not able to, had the visual been shown, right? Even that is difficult to retain, but at least the visual part of the memory would have absorbed it. But because it's all descriptive, and our mind gives a notion to the shape and form, etc., based on what we have seen in the past. And after a point of time, we are not able to keep up pace. And as Prasanna said, maybe with a set of repetitions, it might have been better.
Yeah, the same thing. But one point I noticed that while she was describing, I was pretty clear with the image. I mean, it was forming in my head. But then after she stopped describing, after the second time, and when I was drawing, then I got confused. Like the blank circle was in left or in right, the smiley was in right or in the left. So that till the point the person is speaking, we are clear. But after the point, sometimes it happens that we lose out points. We run out of the facts or whatever we were expected to see, and that might reduce the quality or what was expected from us.
The way that Anamika described the image was as clear as she could make it, and what made the difference was our perception of her instructions. So, one lesson that I learned is the less number of instructions that are given, the more people's imaginations come into play. So we all had a different perception of where to place the leaves, where to place the stars. So it gave rise to 10 different images formed. So there are two things that we can take away from this. One, if you want something to be perfectly replicated, the number of instructions that are given should be more. But if you want a creative and different way for the answer, then you should leave it to the imagination of the person.
I think everyone has said. I would like to just tell you that since Sir didn't allow us to ask questions, this shows the importance of asking questions. Like with a few more questions, it could have been a lot more clear.
Okay, like Anamika said, the devil is in the details. So the positioning of the stars, they were at a slight 45-degree angle, and then the smiley faces were not at the same level. They were levels apart. So these tiny details of whether they were slightly above or slightly below, maybe that perhaps like this guy said, Arjun said, it would have been more helpful if there were more instructions. So that's all. And the questions, of course.
My perception was if she was able to use her hands to describe it, yeah, I stopped it and like, okay, because whenever I remember in my organic chemistry, our teacher used to explain, so this is atom, one atom is here, one atom is here, one atom is so. This was better to understand. We will follow his hands and we'll make an image.
All right, thank you. It was a very well received session by everybody. I'm just giving you a few hints. And all these hints are about accuracy, brevity, and clarity. These are the ABCs of communication. You have to be accurate, you have to be brief, and you have to be clear. Minimize questions. Probably what could have been done is just give the size of this. Say the entire figure diagram is about 4 centimeters long, the length of it. This 4 centimeters, there are some points where the other things come up at a 1 centimeter difference, 1.5 difference. Now starting from the bottom, there is an arc that is touching the end point of this one standing line, and 1/4 of the arc is to the left and 3/4 is to the right, and an arrow on the right side. There is the description of that. And then come down from the top 1 centimeter, there is a small blob onto the left side like a leaf, and inside that you have a small roundel. Come another 1 centimeters down below, there is an oval structure like a cactus leaf, without the thorns of course, and then a smiley where 2 eyes are on top and the lip is at this angle. And then you come below, you did correctly infinity and at this thing. And at the end when you come, it is a 5 corner star. There are one star that comes straight down, and that there is a 5-cornered star. And the next star is from that end point, go at 2 o'clock direction. One of the points of the star is at 2 o'clock direction, and then finish it. There the matter ends. So hopefully, I don't know whether I have done it right or wrong, whether it will be taken. Hopefully what would have happened is, this wouldn't have come. It could have certainly been better. Don't look at what I am showing. This wouldn't have come. These are same replica, but size-wise it is not the thing. This is too large if you put a scale. And this fellow is also something. These two are similar. In fact, these three, if you see, are similar. This shows the pattern of understanding, and understanding by the person who was described, and these three are similar. And of course, that didn't come to my mind. And these three are similar, very small. These 5 are similar. Anyway, so that's it. for the diagrammatic. You see, as engineers, it is important. Architects, engineers, artists, painters, everybody, the scale is very important. Scale is, if you look at any map on the bottom right or left, they will have one small line drawn and say this 1:50,000, 1:20 scale. 1 centimeter represents 1 kilometer, like that. So that is important. Engineering drawing 1 and 2 and so many other modules that you have here assumes a very, very great importance. That is to be understood. So this is for the part that is inside. Now I'll come to the next part, which is I wouldn't seek feedback from all of you. I'll just tell you what was the original action that I told. The original action was this fellow wanted to drive a motorcycle and take off. That was the theme. Okay. I'm beginning the action. This was the action that I gave. He wanted to drive. It was not starting with this. Then he gave a kick, hard kick. It started. Then he drove away. Okay? Now, I don't know what you all did. What did you do? Somewhere what happened, वो बेलन वो चपाती बन गया.